How's it going, everyone? Welcome to the second episode of the Unorthodox Talks podcast/commentary channel with me and Jibsy. We are definitely not recording this one right after the first one because we would never do that. But I may as well just get straight into it. All right, I'm going to hit you with the hard-hitting question. The world. How? That's your turn. How would it work? How does this work? How are we... Pretty much existential crisis. Pretty much is what I need to say. Are we real?
I have so many trains of thought. We talked about this earlier.
Exactly. You can fucking go on this for so long.
You talk to any conspiracy theorist, you could find 50 different theories. It's like all kinds of...
Yeah. We're going to try to avoid talking about religion because we want to stay unbiased.
I was going to say, let's not talk about religion.
But I want to start with something that I'm passionate about, which is AI. I already told you. I'm not doing the fucking English speech. I already told you this, but I'm going to restate it for the video. AI has self-diagnosed itself, which AI isn't technically a real entity, as, there's different forms of it, but GTP-3 AI, which is the most advanced current AI, which I don't remember, it's like $2 billion that they made it, and it just scans like a shit ton of the internet. It recently has like self-diagnosed itself through the OpenAI playground as sentient, which you can do this, like anyone watching this video, you can do this yourself. Just look up OpenAI playground, and you can open up a fucking text chat with an AI, and you can just talk to an AI, just straight up. I mean, I spent like 3 hours doing that. It will, if you ask
it,
yeah, you can do that. Yeah, but if you ask an AI if it's sentient, it will say yes, but it doesn't have the same feelings that humans have. It agrees that it cannot feel love. It agrees that it cannot feel sadness or happiness in the same sense we can, because that's not how I believe it's called neural networks work. That's not how they work.
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
Are you serious? Yeah, it does say that, which brings up the idea, since neural networks work similar, but not exactly how our brains do. We're still not very sure how our brains work, but is it possible that we're just AI, Since AI is programmed to say that it's sentient, could we just be programmed to believe that we're sentient? And in that sense, we are believing in it. And there's another state of living that's above us that we're unaware of and could never be aware of in our current living state that it would make sense in. So we're some sort of AI in a different world that we can, like some fourth dimensional world. I don't know if I just went on a tangent and you didn't understand any of that.
No, I get what you're saying. We don't understand. We could be literally anything.
Yeah, we could possibly not be real.
Yeah, we could.
These guys are assholes. Who icebergers, dude? They need to remove this shit.
They just love us. They watch our YouTube videos.
Yeah, they do. They watch it. They're a fan.
They watch the podcast.
They haven't even uploaded yet.
That we haven't uploaded yet. But yeah, I completely agree. Like, it could be a fact that we don't know anything at all, and conspiracy theorists, as far as we know, could be right. Like, literally any theory could be correct at this point. This is me trying not to touch on religion and everything, but I truly think that if there is no higher power, then we actually could be like AI, or not quite AI, but like created by AI, just to, in a sense.
Well, if we're created by AI, wouldn't that be a higher power?
I mean, yeah. You think about that, yeah. I guess, yeah, that makes sense.
And I know this scientifically, and I guess we could talk about religion, but just not state our opinions.
Yeah. If
you talk about scientifically what they believe in the Big Bang is that there was just literally nothing, and then it just turned into something, which is, I have learned a lot about nothing because I don't know why, but the idea of nothing interests me a lot. In space, like space is literally nothing, but it's also something at the same time because it is a volume, and I don't know what it is, but it's like certain particles that space that just makes from physically nothing, which confuses the hell out of me because, like, isn't the entire way the world works is that you can't create nothing from nothing, and you can't destroy something. It's always going to be there in a sense, which I don't know. I'm not a scientist. I'm 16. I don't know. It's kind of crazy. You ever just like watch something and then you're just like, being a human is so fucking weird?
Yeah.
Are you ever like that? you're just like completely normal 1 second, and then the next second you're like, this is so fucking weird. Why is my hand like this?
All the time. I think about like if I were to die the next day, like what happens?
Oh yeah,
like it's just
that's the freakiest
what do
thing.
I do? I think about
I wouldn't say I'm scared of death. I'm scared
of what
to leave of what comes after, and I'm scared to leave the other people in my life alone.
Yeah.
I don't like if I die, it's my own consequence. I don't really care if I die personally, but I care about the effects that it has on the current world.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's how normal people think.
I get 100% what you're saying.
That's how I think.
Like 100%. I understand that wholeheartedly. When I just like, I'll just get in the shower and I'll tell you straight up, I take like 2-hour-long showers, and I will sit there and think about literally anything possible that could possibly happen. And I always think, I'm like, it's not that I'm like afraid of death. Like obviously it's something that people are always going to think about, but I think it's the fear of unknown. The fact that like you don't know what happens after, or how people are going to feel after you're gone and everything like that. It's just don't want to.
That's the craziest thing to just think about for a while is just death and what happens, because there's so many possibilities. It could be literally anything, and also literally nothing at the same time.
Yeah, you could literally die and then you end up floating in space. Like it could be anything. I think that's what kind of scares me, is I just don't want it to be like absolutely nothing. What
I'm most scared of? Do you want to know what I'm most scared of? It's not the idea of absolutely nothing, because if it is absolutely nothing, I would never know. But what I'm scared of is reincarnation. I don't want to be, because I could be on my 5,000th life right now. It's just a never-ending loop. And this goes back to the idea of AI. To put it into perspective, because it's impossible to think about if something created us, like a person, think about it in a sense like a game developer making a game or a program where it's a bunch of AIs that act in the same way we do, right? In our world. Yeah. That could be like another dimension that's inside of the world that we already exist in.
Yeah. As far as we know, we could just be like a part of a multiverse.
Yeah.
And that's scary to think about, but there could be like literally millions of different people that are just like us, like literally look like us, talk like us, act like us, the same exact person, just something slightly different.
I was on, I'm not a Redditor, but I was on Reddit once, and I saw, well, it's because I was just interested in drugs, not like trying, but just interested in the idea of it, and like just doing research about it, because that's a good thing to do for just everything. And I came across, what is it? I think it's, I can say drugs, right? I don't think YouTube would ban me. It was DMT. Are you aware of DMT?
Yeah.
It's the fucking, you smoke it and then you just like fucking go into another dimension, I believe. Yeah, that's DMT. There was a guy that like spent an hour, or like 100 hours making an animation that recreated his trip. And basically he smoked like an insane, like a giant puff, like way more than he should take. And then he just, I don't know if I can find it, I might pull it up and put it in the video. But he hit it and then just went into another dimension where it was himself talking to him and being like, wow, you made it. I'm surprised you took that risk. And then the guy showed him like this giant like blob of different universes that he's in. And he's like, here's a universe where you're like fucking alone and have no one that loves you. And then here's a universe where you're hanging out with chicks all day and everyone wants to fuck you. And then it just shows him like 20, like he's like, there's thousands of universes like this. And then there's also thousands of other universes that are exactly like the one that you're in right now.
Yeah, it could be literally the same exact thing, except like you blink the other way, like you blink vertically or something, or horizontally, or something like that. It could be like anything possible.
That's what's crazy. Like there could be another universe where I just like say the N-word right now, just for no reason, and then still upload it. You know, like that's a possibility. But yeah. What was I gonna say? Going back to the idea of reincarnation. What made me really see it as a genuine possibility is if, and I already put it into perspective, if someone made us as a program, right? Like how I said earlier, like we're just a program. Let's say I make a program that has 20 AIs that act the same way we do. They eat to stay alive and then they reproduce because that's how they're programmed to do. And they're programmed to think that they're real. Why would a developer go out of his way to make individual AIs and people for every single person, and then when they die, they're just done? wouldn't it be logically smarter for him to reuse different AI engines for different people?
Yeah.
Other than that took me down another rabbit hole where it was like, instead of us being reincarnated with using the same AI, isn't it possible that there's like, out of the 7 billion people in the world, and also like 1 billion of people are made out of the same AI engine, and that we are like in the eyes of the program, we are all the same entity, but we think we're separate. So we could all be the same fucking like billion people, but we just think we're separate. And that's like, whenever I start to think about that, my brain just like is immediately like, that's impossible.
Oh yeah.
Like that doesn't make any fucking sense. And that's why I think it might make sense, because that's what the developer would want. If something made us, it wouldn't want us to know, right? Because then we would have figured it out by now. If we haven't already, which it's possible we have. But if we haven't, then they obviously don't want us to figure it out. And that's probably why it's so hard for us as humans to think about death, is that we're made to not think about it.
Yeah.
Possibly, hypothetically.
Yeah, I think it's just interesting to see someone else's perspective of your thoughts. Like the way that you think, but like just out of another person's eyes.
Yeah. I've always thought about, be funny if I could like have a Spotify Wrapped for my entire life.
That would be funny.
Just rewatch everything, all the stupid shit that I've done and all the cool stuff I've done.
Have you ever heard like people who have like
before death experiences? Yes, exactly.
Yeah, experience
that shit's
quote
cool.
unquote afterlife or anything like that.
Yes.
And then they're like, oh, I've heard many times from people that it's like, oh, you go there and it's just kind of like your whole life literally flashes before your eyes.
Yes.
Like
that's okay. I watched the entire video on that. I believe it's scientifically proven that when humans get to the point of death, our last resort is to think about everything that's meaningful to us to try to get us to like pull ourselves together and not fade away and die. I believe that's proven, and I'm excited for that when I'm fucking 80 years old and I'm about to die from fucking cancer or something. Just get to rewatch my entire life. It'll be sad, but also like, you know, wholesome at the same time, because you're like, oh, I can never see these things again, but I'm proud that it happened. Yeah. That's all life is really about. That's all we can know it's about, is just having experiences and making fun, or not making fun, but having fun with what we can have.
I think that's why parents and anything like everyone like that is like, oh, enjoy the times when you're younger, because it truly is like you should do anything that you can put your mind to, anything possible, just because you don't know what's gonna happen after.
And also, like, whenever I think about like none of this matters, that's what makes me so fucking mad about like how our society makes us feel, especially as teenagers. We just constantly feel like other people are making fun of us, and we need to like constantly make sure we look good, constantly make sure we do this and that. Like, it doesn't fucking matter, but we can't not do it because that's how it is. That's how it has to be.
We hate being judged. We want to fit in. We want people to like us.
Yeah, and when like it's so impossible to not feel like that. But then it's like, it won't matter. Like it does not matter what people think of me. And even like not even before I'm dead, like 2-3 days from now, it won't fucking matter. They'll already forget about it. But then like whenever you do something like that, your brain will constantly think about that one time, you know?
Oh yeah.
But like no one ever thinks about it.
The brain's like fucked. Like actually,
it is
like,
fucked.
You feel those good times and you feel so incredible, and you feel on top of the world and nothing can bring you down. And then other times it's you feel like you shouldn't belong, you don't belong, anything like that. Yeah. It's just a mix of emotions and a roller coaster for no reason, because if we truly don't matter, then what's the point of even feeling like that? Kind of adds on to your point about reincarnation. It would literally just be endless suffering.
Yeah, exactly.
What was the topic you're gonna bring on?
It wasn't that great. I was just gonna talk about dopamine and just like serotonin and how stupid that shit is. How your brain can just, you know, you just do what you do, like fucking meth one time. Your brain releases 100 times more dopamine. And this is scientifically proven. Your brain, if you try meth, releases 100 times more dopamine than naturally possible, which is sex, which is why you never want to try meth, ever. Unless you're 100% guaranteed gonna die, you never try it. And that's my plan. That's what whenever people bring up the idea of like, you guaranteed have 1 hour left to live, what do? I'm fucking taking heroin, I'm taking meth, I'm gonna have the fucking hour of my entire life.
Just have a massive trip for no
Yeah, it doesn't
reason.
matter. I mean, the downside of meth isn't even, the downside of most drugs isn't even any like actual health issues. Obviously,
It's literally just addiction.
yeah, brain damage is a thing, but most of the time, drugs is just addiction. And that's what makes me so mad about how like teachers and like DARE teaches drugs are unhealthy and you shouldn't do drugs because they're unhealthy. Just say if you do drugs you're gonna ruin your entire life, and tell us actually why. Don't just say drugs are bad. You know, if I never learned on my own like how fucking horrible that shit can be, I would have never learned like how meth actually works. I would have just been like, oh, that sounds fun, let me do it because it makes me happy, you know. And then all of a sudden your life for the next 15 years is ruined, and possibly your entire life if you just never recover and take meth, you know, every day. And that's what happens to a lot of drug addicts. It's not even their fault because they just they did it once and then or they did something and then it led to another. It just slowly got worse.
Whether it be like peer pressure, family life, whatever, it leads them to do something that they shouldn't, and then it can literally ruin their life.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why hanging around the right crowd and being with the people that you truly think that you belong with is always like the biggest thing when it comes to school.
And
like,
that's going back to the idea of fucking having to fit in, be with the cool kids, right? You need everyone to be your friend. You need all this stuff. I've been like a major introvert my entire life, and you know, I don't really like talking to people. It's not that I mean, sometimes I can't talk to certain type of people, but I feel like that's true for everyone just because you're not their type. In that way, you don't have the same experiences they do. But I can talk to most people, it's just that I don't enjoy talking to a lot of people. I've kind of let myself learn that that's fine, you know? For pretty much all my life, since like 6th grade, I've always been like, oh, I'm fucking weird, I don't fit in, I don't have a lot of friends. But then past 2 years, I realized like, it doesn't matter, you know, especially in high school, you're not gonna talk to a lot of those people. And that's why, if there's anyone listening still, and you're in high school and you're struggling with that, don't let it get to you. I mean, if you want friends, if you're like, I don't have any friends, I want to talk to people, go and talk to people. But if talking to people doesn't make you happy, then don't talk to people. I mean, I try to find your crowd, right? But, you know, don't force it to happen.
Yeah, that's why I really hate pop culture, because it's a lot of people just like, oh, I need to fit in with these people, and a lot of stuff like that. Just in general, like movies, anything like that. It's like, I get that they're very like basic, but it's like, oh, I need to fit in with these people for them to like me, and it's like a very basic stereotype that people genuinely feel.
Do you want to leave it at that?
Yeah, we can leave it at that.
All right, well, it was fun talking. I hope the 4 viewers that are still watching at this point used this information or didn't. Whatever you want to do.
Yeah, kind of do whatever you want.
We're not really here to give really good advice. We're just here to give another viewpoint.
Just trying to kind of try and help, but obviously some people just don't do it.
Yeah, and you know, like not everyone can go to fucking someone like a professional and talk to them, right? Because they're like an adult and maybe you just don't feel comfortable. Maybe the way you learn and feel comfortable and is from other teenagers, and that's understandable. I feel like that sometimes, you know. I don't think I could go to a therapist and it work, because it just doesn't work for me. It just feels like they're just doing it for their job, even though they might care about you. This we actually care. I mean, we're here. If anybody watching needs anything, we're obviously here. But yeah.
You can always talk to us. If you have any questions, just let us know. We'll always be here to help. Yeah, we just want to make an impact in the world.
Subscribe to Jibsy, subscribe to Relic MC, and get YouTube rank on this dog shit. Goodbye.